Welcome to the Breaking Down Walls podcast with Natalie Grospitch and Jill Barrile.
Hi, Jill.
Hi. Hi,
So
Nat.
here we are. Here we are in the same mental space yet again.
We are. This is keep happening to us.
Forever on the same wavelength.
I'd really love
So
to know if anyone out there is on the same wavelength as us. Like, as they're listening to this, so like, me too, me too.
so the wavelength that Jill and I are both currently on is that we have a few too many pots on the stove, a few too many kettles are boiling, I would say. We're juggling a few too many plates. I don't know, what other analogies do you
I
have?
I I have too many tabs open. That's like literally probably on my computer right now. There's like too many tabs open.
We both have too many tabs open, and it's been so funny to talk for the last like half an hour or so about our current circumstances because Jill will get into it in a moment, but she was talking about like she has so many projects and she's really excited and enthusiastic about all of them, but it's really hard to figure out like which ones to prioritize. And also like having all of our interpersonal relationships. And I am feeling so similarly with the launch of my physical business in Munich. And it's also a huge array of different projects all rolled into one. And we've both kind of had this moment of like, okay, we need to take a moment and step back. We both need to take a moment and like drop into the body, drop back into the heart, get out of the head a little bit, and like realign with center. So, Jill, tell us what's been going on with you and how you've been approaching it.
Yeah, where do we start here? Um, yeah, no, like it's exactly what you said. I think we get to these points in our life when there's just like so many categories, just like if you're not running a business, but there's like just so many categories in life, like whether you're like you're in relationship, you're parenting. Yeah, maybe you're parenting, maybe you're like taking care of like parents too. Maybe you're like buying a house, like being in like the different aspects of life, like where I'm currently sitting is like that, like Nat said, like I've had my business for 8 years now. And it's been on a steady like incline of like getting more clear on what I want to do with my business. Like what's my vision? What's my why? Like, and I think that just happens. You start with one thing and then you get closer to like, oh, maybe it's more like this. Like you go to get these layers and then there's another layer and they're like, oh no, this is it now. And then you're like, oh wait, there's more here. And I think that's kind of like where I've been kind of sitting, where I was in this like really deep place of flow in my business and like the why of like why I'm doing it and like the depth of where I wanted to take it started to become clear. And in that place of it becoming clear, more branches of my business started to form, where like the coaching started to form, this online community, in-person community, I should say, started to want to like be created. There's also like, you know, just continuation of the photography aspect of it. And then there's also like another few different aspects that all are like part of this big growing thing I'm creating, this big project. And it feels, you kind of get in this space where how do I pick which one is like the right direction? And actually, as I'm saying this, it's interesting because I had a tarot, I didn't tell you this yet, but like I had a tarot reading literally like 2 days ago, and she was like, you have your hands in too many buckets, like where I'm like, stop reading my mind. Like, why does that happen? And it was like, you just need to focus on like what is the, simplicity, and like doing the things that are like in your heart. So I've been realizing that. Like, I feel like I've been kind of at this place where I was explaining to you where I'm moving forward. I get this excitement to move forward, and then I like hit this like wall, it feels like, and I have to like pull back for a couple days and I cocoon and I'm like, okay, why isn't this working? Why does my energy feel stale again? And then I like rev up my engine, and I like go at it again and I hit the freaking wall. And I feel like I've been doing this honestly for like longer than I would ever like to admit. Like I probably have a concussion by now. The amount of times
Well,
I've hit the wall.
Jill, you're in luck because we're breaking down walls, man. Like, you're in the right place.
Wow. Full circle.
Full circle every time.
But yeah, I think it's kind of like I there was a point where I reached a barrier. I was able to break through this a couple of years ago, and then I've been in this flow state ever since. And now I'm like headed up to this what feels like the next level of my life. Like I feel like I'm up leveling not just like my business, but my personal life as well. I moved to a new area in town that like is I resonate more with, that feels like more nourishing for me. But like just because it feels like it's the next thing doesn't mean it's like completely like you're a match to it right away, right? Like it doesn't mean like you root in right away. And so something I'm sure you can speak to heavily.
Yes.
And so like it's just yeah, I'm in this place of like, okay, I'm ready to like almost land in this new what I'm just calling an up level. Like I just feel like it is like the next thing I'm trying to drop into, to embody, to like whatever you want to call it. Like it's the next thing. And I'm just tired now.
Well, Jill, I love this so much because this is one of like my favorite spaces to work with women on. That feeling of like, okay, I can see the next level. I know that there's something big and juicy waiting for me, but I just can't quite reach it yet. And I think you hit the nail on the head when you were talking about how, sometimes it doesn't land right away. Like we need to have an identity upgrade in order to get into that next level. And it can be really, really tough because, in my experience, one of the hardest things about getting to the next level is letting go of the level you are currently on.
Mm.
That part, I think, has a tendency to trip us up in a really big way because it's like we want to go to the next space that's waiting for us, and we want to take everything with us. We want to just drag our current circumstances into our future. And I think in some ways, like there's nothing wrong with that, especially if we're happy with where we are currently. But I think that there is inevitably a space where we have to find surrender before we can go into that next level because we need to be willing to let go of the pieces that won't be continuing on with us.
Hmm. Yeah, that resonates
Does
heavily.
that make you uncomfy?
The literal the visualization I've been feeling for the last at least 6 months has been like I have like one foot in this new life, new level, new identity, and one back. And I keep like teetering and I'm like, why can't I just like step forward? Like, why am I not stepping forward? And maybe because I'm stuck in the visual of that rather than like actual visualizing myself like stepping into it. Um, yeah, and I really feel stuck. I honestly feel stuck. Like I was saying to you, I'm like I'm using a lot of my tools. Um, but what I'm one of the two a few of the tools that I'm starting to bring in and like it's just a new habit I'm trying to have, especially this month, is like what we were talking about before is like just getting the clarity and stepping back and dropping into the body.
Yeah,
And
exactly. I think sometimes, especially for those of us who are overachievers or ones who like those of us who have a tendency to be able to think something into existence, like we have an idea and we know what we need to do in order to create it and then we go and we do the thing. Those of us who function that way, like we have a tendency to think, oh, well, if I just do more, or if I just use a different tool, or if I just try this, if I do that, then I'm going to get through. Then I'm going to get through. And like you said, that can end up having us hitting our head against the wall over and over again because sometimes the solution is actually to do less. The solution is actually to pull back, like you said.
Mm.
I had this experience at the end of last year where I had been working my butt off trying to get everything all situated with with bureaucratic nonsense and my business and all these things, and I had been pushing, pushing, pushing. And Sam and I decided that we were going to go to Portugal and we would go for a week. And this was the first week in 4.5 years that I completely unplugged. I didn't touch my computer. I didn't respond to or talk to any clients. I was just gone from the world between Christmas and New Year's. And it was so refreshing to do absolutely nothing except
Mm.
eat and play and enjoy and not give a damn about any of my perceived responsibilities. And I know that
Mm.
that's extremely luxurious and not everybody has that luxury. And I do acknowledge that that's very privileged that I was able to take space. And at the same time, I don't think that you need to go on a vacation. It does make it a little easier, but that can be found in our daily lives as well when we give ourselves permission. But when I tell you the clarity that I had when I came back from that vacation, it was like nothing I've ever experienced before. And I can say that it was definitely nothing like I'd experienced within my business because that was the first real genuine break I had taken in 4.5 years. Because even when I had taken vacations before, I was still checking my email. I was still, responding to clients. I was still doing the whole thing. But that was like my first genuine step back. And when I did that, and then I came back, I knew exactly what needed to happen to move forward. And then literally, how many months has it been? Like less than 2 months, and I'm about to open my business. Like it's just, I mean, open my physical business. But I think that that act of completely pulling back and completely withdrawing and giving ourselves permission to set everything down, even if it's just for a few days, it can be like exactly the therapy that we need to recalibrate.
Mm. Yeah, no, that's I even like sitting in that feeling of like not touching a computer for like a week, even if you're like not in a business, that like is so tingly to me right now, thinking like, oh, like I don't have to check anything, like my socials, I don't have to check in on the world for a week. What do you think happened to like what do you think in your mind happened during that time that you like can you speak to like the clarity of like what it actually what do you think happened there because there was space? Do you think the space was where the clarity came in, or do you think there was something else um
Yeah, I
that happened?
really think so. I mean, I think of when we breathe, when we take like deep inhales in, we're activating our sympathetic nervous system. When we exhale out, we're activating our parasympathetic nervous system. And I feel like between September and December of last year, I was constantly like I was
Mhm.
constantly like taking these in breaths, but never fully exhaling.
Yeah.
And I feel like that week where I wasn't picking things up and fiddling with them, I could actually fully exhale and let that breath out, like just surrender into a space of, you know what, I'm just going to trust this process and I'm going to trust when I get back to it, it's going to make sense. But for right now, I'm not even attached to that outcome. I'm just letting myself live fully in the present moment.
Mm.
And I think what tends to happen when we have a lot of like logs on the fire. Also, I think that's like the fifth or sixth analogy we've used to describe this sensation. But when we have,
Love a good analogy.
I don't know, when we have like our hands too full, we're constantly, constantly distracted from the present moment. Like there's always something going on in the background, in the subconscious, even like it's hard to even sleep when we're in that space.
Yeah.
And that constant subconscious stress of fiddling with things, it really impacts the nervous system and it impacts the ability to see clearly. So when we consciously and subconsciously set all of that down, it's like the way forward becomes really obvious because the way forward was obvious all along. we're
Mm,
just too damn distracted to see it. And I think that that's the answer to like so many of life's questions. To
yeah.
be honest, it's like the way forward is clear. You just have to stop getting distracted by all of the other little things that are like vying for your attention.
I was listening to another podcast actually this week of this guy because I was like, man, I really got to work on my mindset. Like this sort of is just, I'm like, I need to just adjust some things. And he was talking about, what did he call it? Not my multitasking, it's like single tasking or something, whatever he called it. It was like trying to do just one thing is can feel so hard and aggravating where I'm like, wow, I even like while I was listening to him, I'm like doing emails, I'm editing, and I'm like, oh my God, like I really am scattered. And then I'm like, oh, let me hop into this tab. And like you were saying, like I was saying, like I'm like I have all these tabs open because I'm literally trying to do all the things instead of focusing on the one thing that's sitting in front of me right now, which is like right now is our podcast. Like it's and it is how he was saying how like aggravating it'll be when you start to like to just focus in on one thing. Like to give yourself just do it for 20 minutes and then give yourself a 10-minute break to build your moment your like stamina, I guess, to be able to do it for longer. And that's like it's built, I think, a lot into our culture to have to like do all the things at once. And so to break that habit, it feels really counter maybe intuitive at this point because we've been taught like, well, just do this and this and this and it's good and then you'll be fine. I'm like, I notice myself driving and I'm like trying to listen to something while like, whatever, like let me try to drive and also listen to this book and also like give Isaac a snack. And I'm like, what am I doing out here? Like, what is happening? Like, how did I even end up at this store? I didn't even need bread. Like, what is going on?
Well, I
And
think you use two words that are really important, which is habit and also culture. We live in like this crazy fast-paced information overload, materialistic, capitalistic culture. And I say we live, I grew up in America. Germany is not as capitalistic as America. It is more socialist and it does have a lot more of an emphasis on rest. As we were talking about, like there is a lot of rest built into the culture here, which I'm so grateful for. Like it it has been sometimes a challenge to relax as much as I kind of need to in this space.
yeah.
Um, but having grown up in America, it's unfortunate just how uh unhealthy that like go culture of hustle and um always having all of our tabs open and multitasking and all these things like it's really not normal for us to function like that, but because we're all functioning like that, it's hard if not impossible to break out of it.
Yeah. And especially if you're a business owner, that's like on top of it, right? Where I look at some people, I'm like, how do they, I think they have their own set of tabs open, I would say, right? But like I think when you're, trying to run a business in a capitalist society, it is like keeping up. Got to keep up in a sense. At least that's what's, you know, the almost like epitome of success is like, oh, you're doing
Right.
all of the things to keep us interested and like engaged and like Jesus, like the amount of stuff that you have to do, feel like you have to maybe do to just make it, but
Yeah, and I think that that's true though, because it's what we feel like we think we need to do, but it's not really what we need to do. Whenever
right.
I get in this space, I revisit Tim Ferriss's book, The 9 Hour Work Week. Have you ever read
Oh,
that? I'm sorry, The
I
4 Hour
have
Work Week.
I haven't, but I know like I've talked to you about it and I've heard other people speak on it before, and I really should listen to it because I could really use a 4-hour work week.
It's a brilliant book because it really helps you look at your daily life and ask the question of like, is this actually productive for me? Like, is this actually getting me where I want to go? Because it's insane how many activities we do on a daily basis that are actually just hamster wheels. And there's this principle, which it's not his, but he refers to it, which is the 20-80 rule. Do you know what this is? Or 80-20 rule?
Is it like a kind of like sounds like, is that 10x, like get rid of 80%?
Okay, maybe, yeah,
Think
it's
one.
similar, but it's like 20% of what you do will yield 80% of your results, and
Oh,
80% of what you do will only yield 20% of your results. So if you can get rid of that 80% that isn't actually creating either profit or freedom or more clients or whatever it is that your goal is, then you can really, really free up your space and your energy. And you can actually focus on the things that are getting you closer to your goals. And I think that, like, with you and I being really creative people, we do have a bit of shiny object syndrome of like, oh, that's cool. Oh, that looks like fun. Oh, I bet I could do something cool with that. And and I think that
yes. Everything. Call me
and
out.
I think that that's a beautiful thing. Like, we're both very curious people and we both get inspired by all of these like little presents that life tends to throw at us.
We also
And
love novelty. Me and you both.
we do. And we love like these, yes, especially when it comes to experiences of like,
Yeah.
ooh, that looks like a novel experience. How do I experience that? How do I, bring that in? And I think it's really cool that we have that quality because it keeps life really exciting. And at the same time, it is also a recipe for biting off more than we can chew. There's another analogy, but also just just filling
Mhm.
our pockets. There's another one with way too much stuff. And I think that it's funny because I'm a minimalist when it comes to physical things. I can be a bit of a maximalist when it comes to ideas and projects and what can I create? What's the next thing I can do? And I think that we can sometimes hoard a bit even when it isn't physical stuff. And that's where we really got to check in and ask, is this actually serving me? Like, what does Marie Kondo say? Like, does it
Yeah.
really spark joy or are you just like chasing a shiny object?
Mm, stop talking to me, to my soul right now. I resonate with that though. Like it's sort of something I've been listening to a lot lately too, is like you only need to do one thing and write the other things down. And if they're meant to come to fruition, or like if you're meant to put your time into it, like it's still going to be there later, you know? And it's like even like this conversation is sparking of like if I put it down and clarity comes, then that's the space it needed to be put down so clarity can come more,
Yes.
can come forward. And so I'm putting it all down. Literally, like I'm like, I'm not gonna pick anything up all month. Maybe I'll pick something up. I probably shouldn't do this something, but like I think there is a lot in that of it's like the things that are meant for us are going to come to us, and forcing it like anything, like I think about in relationship and dating, like when you're dating someone and you're like bugging them to just like to text you or to like be the thing that you have been like searching for, and like that's not sexy and that's not attractive, like when you're just like nitpicking at the thing that you're doing, even it's like doesn't really make sense, and so hmm I think there's probably some wisdom in there somewhere. I haven't landed on it yet. Not all
Yeah,
the things they say are wise quite yet. They will be wise one day. But yeah, I don't know.
yeah, it's funny because it feels like a lot of it is kind of the opposite of procrastination.
Mm,
It's kind of like it's more motivated by FOMO and like this fear of missing something. Like, I'm so afraid I'm going to miss something that was meant for me. Like that fear. It's like when you look back on your life, I don't know about you, but I haven't really had that happen. If something was
yeah.
meant for me, it always came back around.
Yeah. It's the lessons too, though. Like I feel like with that, yeah, you're right. Like it'll come back and it'll probably come back stronger and like that'll be the time to like take the leap. And I think that's same with the lessons. Like if we don't like pass the test or whatever or learn the lesson, it keeps showing up, right? Like it happens in relationship. It happens probably with jobs that we take when we're like, oh, we're gonna go the safe route, the route that maybe is like easier, but the less that like same dissatisfaction comes up or like whatever emotion maybe is like associated with it keeps coming up and you're like, well, I'm being asked to learn something right now and like what can I take from this and like decide to do differently. And we usually feel it instantly once we decide to take that step or like learn the lesson, you know. So I agree with you. Like I think things will come back when they're, you know, meant to. I think about this project I'm working on right now or like this opportunity right now that's kind of fell into my lap and it's been interesting because it's like there's no timetable on it where like had there been it would have been like a big no, but because there's so much spaciousness around this opportunity, I'm like I can actually really let myself sit with it and like almost like backburn it a little bit, but like acknowledge it's still there. And if it still keeps staying there, it's meant for me to fully go into it. But right now, I'm
Mm.
kind of just like, okay, you're there. I'm going to let you be there right now. I'm going to take notice that you're there and like be a little curious about it. And I do that. I feel like that's like also good dating advice of like, okay, I'm going to notice this new person there. I'm going to be curious about that person, without like saying like I have to claim it and attach to it. Like I can just notice it. I can play around with the idea of like maybe this being something that I want. And look, the more time that passes, the more I can be like, yes, this is for me. Like that person's for me. This project is for me. Without having to like claim and be like, what the fuck did I just do?
I
So,
love that. Because we were talking about like the art of pulling back, but I also think of that as like the art of zooming out, like being able to kind of see yourself above yourself and look at people and situations and opportunities from a more removed space. I think that that skill is really, really helpful in these types of situations, whether, like you said, whether it's with dating or with an opportunity or whatever. When we get really stressed out, we have a tendency to put blinders on and fixate on the problem at hand or the massive to-do list or everything that we think has to get done this very moment. And unfortunately, that just ends up creating like a cascade of more stress hormones, and the vision gets more and more and more narrow. And as if our vision is super narrow, then it is really hard to find clarity and it's really hard to figure out, okay, where am I supposed to go next? It's kind of like you started with this big floodlight in a black room. As you've gotten more and more stressed, it's condensed and condensed, and now all you have is this little laser. And it's like, crap, I can't see anything because my vision is now a pinhole. But having that skill of, okay, I'm going to step from this. I'm not going to get immediately attached. Instead, I'm just going to be curious about it. I'm going to notice it. I'm going to see that it's there. I'm be like, all right, if that's for me, cool. It'll still be there tomorrow. And if it's not for me, then it won't be there. And that's fine. And I think that giving ourselves that space, again, going back to what we were talking about, can be so helpful to do that physically and to like physically remove ourselves from our daily routine and go do something different. Go on a retreat for a weekend, go like stay in a cabin in the woods for a bit, go on a little road trip, whatever. That can be so helpful. Also, mentally, when we feel ourselves in that little pinhole, telling ourselves, okay, you know what? I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to look at my life from above. I'm going to look at my life as though I'm a bird and I'm just going to look down on it. And I'm going to see all the things. I'm going to acknowledge all the things. I'll be curious about all the things, but I'm not going to commit to any of it. I'm just going to kind of let it rest. And I think if we can make that like a daily habit, especially when we're in that space of having all of our tabs open, it can create that same spaciousness that you have in that one piece of your project. Maybe it can start to come into the other pieces as well.
Mm. Hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. It is like beautiful though, because and something I didn't really, I don't know if I was speaking on quite yet, but we talked a little bit about it. Where like I am dedicating this whole month to just dropping into my heart space and into like out of, I think our heads and our hearts do need to stay connected. I think that's like how we can have get into that beautiful flow place. But I know for me personally, I've been really so much in my head that like it's physically showing up in my body with like strain in the neck, not feeling good, like being very emotional. Or like, some is normal, but like to the point of like dysfunction. I think that's when you're like, okay, there's something disconnected here. And so I know for me this month, I'm really taking the time to just go back to the simple things of like giving gratitude every morning, right? And like really tuning into my mindset of like, am I waking up with anxiety or am I waking up with joy for my day? And there has been like a lot in the last month because there's been so much coming forward of like, okay, universe, thank you for all the opportunity, but like, can you just give me one thing to worry about? And so when it feels like, sometimes the abundance is overwhelming, I think sometimes that is also part of this. But I'm getting back to my practice of going back to the gratitude journal, like just writing it down, whatever is coming up, and like turning one of those the mindset of like, I have so much to do into like, I get to do all of this, right? Like, I think it's so easy to be like, I have so much to do. And I think that's what we get all the time. And there was another book I want to like, reference. Oh crap. Don't have it on. I'll remember it, but they talk about like Einstein time and like how we actually are the ones that are in control of what time is, and like how when we are saying like, oh, we don't have enough time for this, or like we're gonna be late, or like really giving time like power over us, that there is like this other way, which is Einstein time, and I'm now expert on this. Go look it up yourself. But it's like when we get to decide like that we're in control of time, essentially is the idea. I don't if you are familiar. I'm sure you're familiar with this. Oh, you're not? Really? Okay.
No.
And it's like how it really like allows us to like take back time and like expand it. Like, but I know like for me, like sometimes you're like, time does not exist. There's weeks I feel like time does not exist. It either goes so fast or so slow. And it's like, that's because I think there is a component of that is like we do control the time and like what we put into those time periods. And so I think it's in not The Slight Edge, it's The Big Leap. He talks a
Oh
little bit
yeah,
about
I know that book.
yeah, I was
I
gonna
just
say I
don't
think you've
remember
read the
that
book.
phrase. It's been a while.
Yeah. I think it's like different books, like certain pieces. I'm like, oh, I remember that, and that was super interesting
Hmm.
to me. So like, I'm like, tell me more about time because I want more of it. But that's also the mindset of like, I want more time. It's like I have enough time. Just like expecting yourself to say like, I have enough time for this. I'm going to fill it with things I value, and like, then you get into those flow states where time doesn't exist. And if you've been in them, anyway, I'm going off a tangent with this, but getting back to the heart, getting back to the gratitude, moving the body, being really intentional about the body, and like taking notice of like the good things that are coming from that. Like I was saying to you, I'm like, I went back to yoga and I was like, I'm gonna feel so crappy after this. Like my mindset was like, I'm gonna feel crappy because like I haven't worked out like this in a while. Where like the opposite happened, where like I went and I'm like, wow, but I actually feel really strong. And that was so cool to like even just in real time to be like, well, I actually feel really strong from this. Yes, I felt better because I moved my body, but like something else about me actually came forward. And I'm like, okay, there's something shifting. And I know that's like maybe it's so like simple advice of like, oh yeah, move your body and have a good mindset. But it's so foundational at the
Yeah,
same time.
I completely agree. So far, or I should say for the last few days, I have started a habit of putting on music and dancing as soon as I wake up in the morning. Like while I'm brushing my teeth, while I'm making breakfast, I just put on music that feels really good. And it has been such an amazing way to start the day because even if people like, I think it's so sad that there are people who are super self-conscious of dancing. My heart breaks for anyone who has ever been shamed for the way that they dance. And I wish that I could just remove that from everybody because giving yourself the freedom to dance, regardless of how you look, is one of the most amazing, like, self-care and self-love things you can do, in my opinion. Because our bodies are designed to dance. Our bodies are designed to dance, our voices are designed to sing. And I think it's really sad that people think that they don't have, beautiful dance moves or a beautiful voice, because all of them are, in my opinion. Um, but I love just waking up and like moving my body however it feels good. And always making sure to integrate playfulness into the day is also huge. It's helpful if you have little kids because they're constantly playing, so it's like easier. I have a very silly husband, so that makes it really easy. Like when he's around, we're constantly playing with each other. And it's actually funny because he was out of town this weekend, and I was like, where's my play buddy? Like I'm like, do we need a dog? Like I need someone to play with. I'm not very
Oh.
good at solo play. I definitely am better with like, oh, that sounded dirty, but you know what I mean? Like I
Ooh. For another day, for another
that's
day.
for another day, but like I think that like playfulness, whether it's with your pets or kids or partner or friends or whatever, playing a game, going outside, like dancing, being silly, and just not taking yourself so seriously. And I think that that is another thing that can happen when we have all of these tabs open, is that we start taking life too seriously. And that's sad. Like, it's really sad because life is literally just this giant sandbox where we get to just play and grow and explore. And there's no reason to take it seriously if we don't want to, which might be like a really broad brush to stroke, but I'm gonna say it anyway.
Stroke
Um,
it.
I think, yeah, right. Like, let's just maybe not take it so seriously and be okay with the fact that like it's okay to be messy, it's okay to be playful, it's okay to just like see what happens and fly with the wind sometimes and just
Mm,
enjoy the process, whatever that looks like.
mm. Yeah, it's such a good reminder because I even feel like because we have all the kids at the house sometimes, and it's like I forget to play even because you're in the role of like overseeing or zoomed out, and like what's actually important right now. And something I constantly remind myself of is just knowing like almost like forget like this is their childhood, like reminding myself of this is their childhood and like what they're happening with them and for them now is going to be like the memories that they have. And that always kind of brings me back to, okay, I can be in play and like what did I enjoy playing like when I was that age and like their curiosities. But I think sometimes we forget that as parents or like to play like how to play, because we're in this like other role and like but it is fun to notice like how they act and like how weird they are and like the dance thing. I think about that all the time because we have dance parties a lot of these boys here and like their moves, I swear, I'll send you a video of Isaac one of these days. Like the way this boy can shake his butt, like I'm like, I don't know where you got this from, but like I hope you do this for the rest of your life because you got some moves. I'm not even joking. I'm like, you're actually really good at that. It's like almost awkward because you're so good
I
at it.
love that though. I love that. And I think it's important too to like one of the things that makes like children so precious with that sort of thing is that they're not performing. Like they're genuinely just playing.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that's we as adults we forget because we think that everything needs to be either a performance or it needs to be monetized or it needs to be like something productive. It's like genuinely it doesn't. It doesn't need to be productive. It doesn't need to be monetized. It doesn't need to be beautiful. It doesn't need to be anything. Just
Yeah.
live, just shake it. Just throw some paint on a canvas if that tickles your fancy and like enjoy the fact that like you can enjoy and you can play and it doesn't have to have a deeper purpose than that.
I have a question for you as we're talking about this. Like, how do you, when you're putting on this lens of play and you're in a place or joy or bliss or happiness, like when you're in a place that's you're just not there, when you're feeling kind of sticky, how do you like take off maybe the lens of sadness and like this lower vibrational feeling and like put that joy on?
I change my environment. That's always the first thing that happens. I almost always go outside and I do some sort of physical activity. Fortunately, I live in a mountainous area, so it's easy for me to just go and like climb a mountain and go somewhere really beautiful. But movement in my body is so key for making that shift. Um, Music, dance, whatever. And it's also helpful to like go and be around someone who brings me joy and like lights me up in one way or another. I'm quite social, but for me it's like yes, I can just go there mentally, but it is so much easier to do that if I involve my body as well. And if I can get my body into a state of joy, my mind follows. It's
Mm.
just it's just like biology at that point.
Yeah.
What do you
Mm.
do? Do you have a system for that?
I think that's like kind of what I'm getting back to, because I feel like, I don't know about you, but I get in these like high highs sometimes, and like I feel like I dip sometimes like a low that I don't like. It kind of dips sometimes to a point where I'm like, how do I put the joy back on? And something that I'm navigating, the movement is a huge piece, like where I forget that a lot, of like you can just go do a workout class and you usually feel better, or move your body, or like lift some weights or whatever it is. um but recently, like me and Justin like had some conversations around this, actually just this week, and it was like, I'm feeling in this place of discontentment, and I'm like trying to put on a new lens, and I'm like, I don't want to feel like I'm staying here, but like that I am. And so something I noticed for us over the last couple days as we're like having these conversations is like almost just the being witnessed and being heard has been helping me shift this feeling of like, because I'm kind of still I'm still experiencing grief on a huge like biological level, I think. And so like that kind of comes up when I'm experiencing high joys. Sometimes the grief creeps in, like what I was telling you of, I'm navigating like the death of my father. I think I talked about that in these episodes just a couple months ago. And so it is an interesting feeling I've never experienced before. And so like trying to communicate that with somebody is can be challenging, especially if they don't know where you're coming from, or like they haven't experienced that themselves. But I think the speaking and being witnessed has been really helpful for me, especially in relationship. Where like I know some people might go to like a therapy for that, but I think even being witnessed by friends can be really helpful. And it's like helping our relationship and our partnership, and because it creates depth. And like I think that's also part of the joy of being seen.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to validate these like really intense highs and lows that you've been experiencing is that's so typical of grief because grief is like it's a vapor. Like it will just kind of float into the room and then it'll kind of float away. You can't really control grief, and it does tend to come up when we are feeling really happy and really joyful. Sometimes it just sneaks in and wants to be seen and processed. And especially if we're having a moment where it's like, oh, I wish they were here, or that sort of thing. It can be it can be a really intense roller coaster ride for a while. And I just wanted to validate that because I think that that is one of the hardest things about grief is that you can be feeling on top of the world and then it just kind of sneaks in and it yanks you down pretty low. And the only thing we can really do with grief is witness it. Like you said, it really is one of those emotions where feeling it is the solution
Mhm.
and being allowing ourselves to be held while we feel it, whether it's just someone witnessing us or physically holding us, giving ourselves the opportunity to be comforted by another, I think is one of like, I don't know if I would say like one of the gifts of grief, but it is certainly, it is something that can kind of like build closeness if we allow it, if we allow ourselves to be seen and held in those moments of like intense vulnerability.
Yeah. Yeah, no, thank you for saying that. And that's sort of kind of naturally happening now that I'm thinking about it. It's like maybe it's that clarity. Because, like, part of me, like, it's interesting you were saying before, like, oh, I have to monetize on everything. Like, part of me is like, what do I do with this? What do I do with this? What do I do with like, this feeling of grief? Like, and it's like, you don't have to do anything with it. You don't have to do anything with it. Like, you don't need to bring it into your work. You don't need to be like talking about it to every single person. You can just be with it. And I think there's some like I think I sit sometimes between like I want to serve and give this support to other people, but I also need to be of witness to myself and give this time to myself. And if there's something to do with it, it'll be there. And maybe I don't need to like do with it is really what I'm getting from this right now because I think when you're an entrepreneur, when you have that brain of like, uh-oh, did you freeze? Oh, okay, sorry.
No, I'm here.
Okay. When you have that brain of like inventiveness and also like you want to support people and like you're like I'm going through this, other people are probably going through this, and then it's this cycle of like what do I do to like, make the world a better place essentially. I think that's what a lot of entrepreneurs' brains think like. Um, but we are also human. We're allowed to just be in whatever state we're in without trying to do something with it or push it down or push it away and just have it like part of like whatever life is happening for you. So
Yeah. And I think that this goes back to even just what we were talking about at the beginning. It's like, I think in those moments where we keep hitting our head up against a wall, it's time to step back and really go into like that self-care mode of like, okay, obviously pushing myself forward is not working. So how do I pull back? How do I take care of myself? How do I find joy? How do I play? How do I find relief and release? And how do I connect with the people around me and just get present and remember that like life is not always about pushing forward. Life is not always about achieving the next thing, even if I can see the next space. Sometimes life is about consciously pulling back and taking that time and space to just be and to just set things down and allow that to be enough.
yeah. This feels like it was like a good podcast for me.
It's
I
good
got
for
a lot
me
out of it.
too. It's good for me too.
Yeah.
I have a tendency to just move too fast when I'm inspired. And
Yeah.
this was a really good reminder for me of like, okay, I can be inspired, but I can also pace myself. And that's important for me as well.
Yeah. I had that inspiration too of like life can be very long and there's a million projects and everything doesn't if everything happened right now, like what else would I be doing? Like there's
Yeah.
nothing to like, be excited for the next thing. So it's like, why not pace it out and have more time and enjoy all the little things along the way rather than like, okay, let's build it and then we have it and then it's like, that's it? Like that's not
No
fun. Like
fun.
the process is really the fun part, even when
The
it's like
process is the fun part. Yes, I totally agree.
like that's the new mindset I'm gonna take anyway.
I love it. Yes. Enjoying the process. So good.
Mm.
Do you feel complete?
I feel pretty complete. How
Good.
about
I feel
you?
complete too. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you
Enjoy
all
the
so much
process.
for Yeah, thank you all so much for listening. It was fun. I feel like we like coached ourselves and each other during this episode. Love it.
Yeah, look at us.
All right, guys, we'll see you in the
Bye.
next episode.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Breaking Down Walls podcast. We'll see you in the next one real soon.